ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Hashtag Anime Talk slash Manga Melee Fusion. It's a little fusion, but this is more so Hashtag Anime Talk. As you know, our guy Jaz will be back September 1st, and we decided to bring it back because bring it back before he came back, because I know we've taken a pretty good break, but between Jaz and I's work schedule, it just wasn't working out for us to put episodes out like that when we had the BrosWhoThink podcast and the One Piece manga reviews that I needed Jaz on 100% with me and Versen. But we decided that, hey, let's bring it back. Now there's no time better than now. And when Jaz gets back, it'll be a rotating. Honestly, it'll be him and Versen for the most part, along with me. And then we'll be doing it. Sometimes it'll be just me and Versen. Sometimes it'll be me and Jaz. Sometimes it'll be all three of us. But with Versen here, we have the triumvirate. And it's time to bring Anime Talk back. Along with, the reason why I say it's a little bit of fusion is because Versen is also the co-host on Manga Melee, which is on a break right now while Jay is moving to his new home location. So we're doing a little bit of a fusion, but Anime Talk is back. Don't you worry. We will be doing episodes at minimum every other week, but we're going to shoot for every week, and in between episodes, you'll get videos on different manga, like One Piece and whatever other manga me and Versen decide, which I believe, which we'll talk about in here. One of them will be Don, because we will be talking about that, and then Pharaoh and myself will be reviewing Kingdom, which Versen will be joining in from time to time as well. So we have everything straightened out, ladies and gents. When Jay gets back, we'll have Manga Melee. When Jaz gets back, Anime Talk will continue, plus all of our other anime and manga content. And as you know, if you listen to the BrosWhoThink podcast, we're thinking about streaming some of this stuff, which will begin in if not next week, week after, which I'm excited about. So before we even put episodes on Apple or Spotify or YouTube, you can watch them live, and we'll have sections at the end of each show for people watching live. They can send in a question, or if you have a number we'll give out, you can call, and it'll be really, really cool. But joining me officially, co-host, one of the co-hosts, part of the triumvirate of Anime Talk, as well as the co-host of Manga Melee. How you doing, Jay? I mean, Lord, I'm thinking of Jay. How you doing, Versen? That's horrible. I'm so sorry.
Off to a strong start.
Stop it, bro. I'm sorry.
Yep, you guys know it. You love it. He never calls on me first in the One Piece. Gets my name wrong for my brother. You know, at least when my Nana does it, I know that she's known us for 28 years. When you do it, it's a little bit more suspect. I don't know. Like, we all look alike to you? I don't know.
No,
anyway.
Y'all are very much so fraternal twins. Like, I think of y'all as two different people. Y'all not even twins. Y'all are just brothers that are close.
What the fuck? We are literally twins. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I thought y'all were. That's when your face. Okay, let me just tell you. When I said fraternal, your face was like, wow, this guy doesn't know us. And I thought, oh my goodness, are they not twins? I was like, this is horrible. I thought I had it right.
You're my friend, but please learn the lore. Thank you.
I know I've learned, but I'm always willing to learn more. But yes, okay, so I knew y'all were fraternal twins. Okay, so, and also, let me just clear my name. The reason why I said Jay is because I'm thinking of Manga Melee, so it came out. But we have my guy, Versen, the V-Man, Joshua Trosclair in the building. He knows he's my guy. Me and him be chilling, talking One Piece. He knows, so that had me feeling bad for a little bit. But V-Man, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm busy. For those of y'all who don't know, and again to reiterate, because we are twins, a week ago, me and brother shared a birthday.
Yeah.
And it's been like nonstop ever since then. Not all cool stuff, but still, it's just been busy. I literally, part of the reason we're recording late is because I had a work meeting that we're in a little late. They got me like doing this brand new project thing that should be happening soon.
Hell yeah.
It might involve our boy Jaz and Pharaoh. We'll see.
Hell yeah.
Giving something back to the community. But I only learned about it like literally an hour ago, so I'll have more on that later.
Hell yeah. Well, glad you're doing well. Also, for those who didn't get to hear the last episode, happy birthday to you, my friend. We have a lot to get into today, which I'm excited about. As with this podcast, Bros Who Binge and Bros Who Think going forward, I like to lay out the map and tell you a little overview so you can know what sections you want to get to. We're going to start this off by talking about what we've been watching and how anime has been this season. We're going to dive into a solo discussion of One Piece, the anime Egghead arc. So if you're not caught up with the Egghead arc and not watching the Egghead arc, then you can skip that section. We're also going to discuss My Hero Academia's ending and how did we feel about the series as a whole and how did we feel about the ending. So for manga readers that aren't caught up, if you're an anime watcher, I suggest not listening to that section unless you care to know what we think about the ending and spoiling it for yourselves. And the main topic today is who are the best mangaka, for those that don't know, authors/artists, the people who create the manga, who are the best mangaka today and how do they compare to previous generations? So without further ado, since we haven't talked about anime on Anime Talk in a while, that's why we're giving you what we've been watching. And then the next episode we'll pick something to start reviewing each week. If not, we may review something. We may wait till the next group starts, but I digress. So, Versen, what have you been watching? We'll go back and forth. You'll say one, I'll say one. How have you felt about anime this year? Let's start there.
Anime this year's, I think, pretty good.
Okay.
My favorite probably for the year is still, at this point, Dungeon Meshi, but that's with an asterisk, though. I was a diehard for Dungeon Meshi back when it was a manga, back whenever a lot of people weren't talking about it. So, like, I already know literally everything that's going to happen. But it's been a joy to watch Trigger animate like such a nice dynamic show. I'm glad people are loving it. You know, like I gotta give it credit. Shout out to my friend Matt. Like this dude seems to be on the forefront on just like he's what we call in the business a tastemaker. In the way that like, you know, whenever it gets a seal of approval, even if I kind of squint at it and I'm like, I don't really know if that's it, Matt. But he was on Dungeon Meshi. Me and him like both got onto it before it ended. He was on Chainsaw Man. You know, Golden Kamui, like this man just keeps the hits rolling. So, you know, I'm very happy to see it get such a good anime adaptation.
Hell yeah. I'm going to echo that by saying Dungeon Meshi it's a close tie. Not to give away how I'm feeling for the Anime Talk Awards at the end of the year. We still have time. But in terms of my top animes of the year, Dungeon Meshi is tied with what I'm going to say right after this. But I agree with you. For it being a story that is about cooking, first off, cooking monsters. You can't tell me you've watched Pokemon or watched some of these shows with creatures and you're like, I wonder how they taste. There's a whole like encyclopedia on how to cook Pokemon. People always wonder cooking monsters in these isekai, and the fact that this is a whole story about their adventures and them going on adventures to cook exotic monsters is great. It's amazing. Like one point during the season, I was like, does this dude even care about his sister still? Like,
listen, we all remember the beloved anime Fighting Foodons back in 2002 on Kids.
Yeah, I did not know. My favorite food anime is Food Wars. So to get some, and you know, Versen, if being that you've come to my house, people that have been around me know I love Food Network, and I'm loving these cooking shows. And the fact that this is an anime cooking show, I'm all into it. So I agree with you with Dungeon Meshi. It is great. I'll say, just to say a new one that came out in the summer, I believe, or spring. It started in April. Kaiju number 8, man. As you know, I was one of the first people in our Discord, one of the first people in the anime community in America, at least, to really champion Kaiju number 8. I read it right when it dropped on Shonen Jump. I was part of the squad that was like, this is amazing. And at first, I didn't like the animation style. I'm going to call a spade a spade. I still don't necessarily think it's the best, but it's passable because the story's so good. The voice acting is great. I got to give props to our guy Sean Gann, who voiced oh man, I'm blanking on the anime, the magic anime that the French creator made. It's not necessarily Radiant. He voiced the in the trio. There's this chunkier guy with a mustache. I'm blanking on his name, but our guy Sean Gann voiced him. And he progressed throughout the years to where now he's directing, anime casting director, and he does that for Kaiju number 8. I'll hit him up and we can have him on to talk about Kaiju number 8. I think that'd be a good thing to get us back into anime talk for those people who love Kaiju number 8. And like I said, the dub is great. Everything about Kaiju number 8 is great, but I would say the story, top tier, action, top tier, voice cast, top tier. The animation is the only thing that's average, honestly. I'm not going to even say slightly above average, because I feel that if they would have done everything right animation-wise, not that this anime isn't trending among anime fans, but if it had better animation, I guarantee you, Versen, it would have broken the internet, a la Demon Slayer episode 8 or episode 13, whenever they had the great animation in season 1, or JJK, or even One Piece, how these animes with these great fights 1 week breaks the internet. And I think Kaiju number 8 had, and I think it still has the potential to do that, but I think if the animation was better, it would have happened already this season.
Yeah, I totally do agree with that. Also, on top of that, on my end, I'm playing a little bit of catch up, but
Okay.
the Apothecary Diaries, like part 2 should be dropping soon, but part 1 was really good. I think it's very good for something a little different. Obviously, like the setting, I think, that one era inside of China, as well as the fact that we do have, a female protagonist who is like a full-on thinker, but also a freak. There's if you want 2 weird little guy anime, you got Dungeon Meshi with Leos, and you got Apothecary Diaries with Mao Mao. Like, they do really well together. So really excited about that. I definitely want to see more of how that all is going to go down. It's a little bit more intrigue, a little bit more politics, not necessarily darker, because both shows can get like plenty dark on their own, but obviously it's different types of fights, and I appreciate that as, we get more refined,
100%. 100%. I also will say, before I get to the sleeper, I think, or actually, I'll say the sleeper before I get into another one. A sleeper for me, Go-Go Loser Ranger. That on Hulu, that has been great. Taking the idea of Power Rangers and flipping it on its head. Basically, when I say this, I know people are going to be like, wow, but you got to give credit to this show for kind of flipping genres on the head. But Go-Go Loser Rangers, The Boys, but for Power Rangers, honestly, and The Boys just started a trend. We're seeing more shows do that, where they take this preconceived idea we have of something that we champion, that we put on the highest regard, and we show that, hey, what if it's not like this, and the villains are right, and the heroes are actually the villains, and seeing that with Go-Go Loser Ranger, I'm excited for the next season, because I think this show actually has some legs. Being that it's taking the Power Ranger genre, the Super Sentai genre, and basically saying, hey, what if the minions that everyone knows exist, these tiny minions that they always take out at the beginning of the episode, what if one of them infiltrated the Power Rangers and showed the corruption, the evilness of the Power Rangers, and showing how actually maybe the monsters are the heroes?
And not only that, but maybe not everyone who gets gifted like a giant mecha necessarily deserves it. And maybe they shouldn't rule the world.
I agree. Look, Elon Musk is trying to, right now in present day, be the first one to Mars and start the space colony, because he knows if he can start the space colony, forget governments. The man who controls space controls the future. We know this person. We've seen Gundam.
I did want to ask, by the way, if you haven't looked into it, feel free. And I know that I should be giving what I've been watching, but have you looked into the Suicide Squad isekai at all? Because you are a DC fan.
Oh man, okay, so
because I've seen.
Funny you've asked this. DC fans have asked me this on Bros Who Binge. People have asked me, and basically I'm giving the same answer. I have not checked it out yet. I want to, but I'm scared that it's going to be bad, which is why I haven't checked it out yet. But some DC fans who are big time DC fans say they like it. Some I've seen say they didn't. Some anime fans are like, it's great they're incorporating DC. Some anime fans are saying it's random as hell. So I've seen mixed reviews, but I'll say this for next anime talk, which we'll be doing next week. Why don't we both watch the first couple of episodes and we'll come with a review next week? Yeah.
Sure, but I don't know if I want to, because I don't know if I'll like it.
Only 3 episodes. That's all we're at. Oh, the first 3 episodes. If you like it, you can continue. If you don't, then we'll just talk about the first 3.
All right. I will say, though, at some point we should maybe actually watch Monsters, since we like Otis.
Oh, Oh, well then next episode we can review that as well because that's only one episode. So
Yeah.
or like two, I think. I watched it. Speaking of that, did you like that? Or do
Oh,
you want to wait for our review to discuss that?
well,
We can.
We should wait for the review.
All right, so let everybody for next week's episode make sure you watch Monster because we're gonna discuss that. Another anime I'll say
for the
first.
record,
You got one?
Oh, well, I was just gonna say for the record, the people who are searching up.
Oh, it's Monsters.
Yeah, Monsters, 103 Mercies, Dragon Damnation. But I mean, Monster would probably also get you ready to go.
Well, no, it would, but if you're on Netflix, it'll definitely show.
Monster.
Yeah, the actual, which is on Netflix now, which is great. So, but yeah, what else you been watching? Because I have two more.
So I haven't watched it yet, but I saw some people talking about it on Twitter. I kind of gave this a pass at first because I was not because I didn't want to interested in it, but I was like, this is something I could put away for now and whatever. But I think Code Geass, Rose of the Recapture.
Is that good?
I've heard it's actually good.
I've
heard it's actually good, so I might peep, you know?
Okay. Well, then that's something that I'm not going to say for next week because we already have our thing full. But in a couple weeks, that can be something we look at, which I'm excited about. So we can definitely get down to that. All right. The next thing I have is Windbreaker. Now, some people liked Windbreaker. Some people were like, it was good in the beginning and fell off. But to me, I really, really like Windbreaker. I think where Tokyo Revengers gets into this fantasy time travel element, Windbreaker does not. It's about family. It's about this one guy who never felt loved by anyone. He found this found family, and they show him that love and having people to care about is great. You don't have to be a loner. You don't have to be someone who just despises the world. And the fights they do are fucking great. Better than the Tokyo Revengers fights. So if you like delinquent crime gang anime, Windbreaker's for you.
Yeah, and I absolutely don't want to down talk that, but boy, I have rarely seen anime fans turn.
Yeah,
and
it's
granted,
been hit or miss.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where it's going to end and where people are going to finally land on it. But I have heard in literally within the span of 3 weeks, people who are championing it and being like, I'm in it, I'm in there. You know, we got a better pro tag than we do with with Tokyo Revengers. We're getting in there. And then suddenly people being like, listen to the soundtrack, but that's all you need. Don't even bother. I don't know.
It pisses me off, Versen, because it's actually good. I feel like that criticism is, and maybe it's not coming from those people, but everyone I see making that are the meatheads who are like, this needs to be more delinquent fights. This needs to be less about him finding a family. It's very much so, we want more fights. We want more action. At least that's what I've seen on my feed. I think Windbreaker is definitely worth the watch. It's getting us another season. Shout out to our guy Fire in the Discord. Make sure you join. Fire's a fan of it. Me and him talked about it in the Discord among some other people. So I definitely think Windbreaker is something that needs to be mentioned here because I think it's great. And I definitely think I don't want to say great. I think it's good. And I think if you like delinquent stuff, you will like it. Now, there is an anime that I'm very interested. Did it come out yet? Which is the Rooster Chicken anime. I don't think so. With the rooster as the main character, I don't think that's come out yet. I think the trailer just dropped.
The assassin rooster.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you watched that. Okay. And then the final one I have is Mission Yozakura Family, which is if you like hitmen, assassins, mafia. It's this kid basically ends up joining this mafia family because he's gonna end up marrying the daughter one of the daughters in the family because they end up being friends and shit, and he gets powers, and it's just them going on mafia missions, and I absolutely love it. So I definitely think Sakamoto Days is better than it, but in terms of if you just want an anime to watch now that involves mafia and crime, that's a good one. So, and we will do our fall preview at some point, but until then, I think that's all the ones I have, Versen, unless you have any more.
I don't know the exact parameters on it yet, but I do know that Oshinoko season 2 should be out soon.
That's fall 2024. I'm looking at the list. So when we do our fall preview, I know definitely that's one that you're gonna mention and I know that's one that our fans are gonna love. So we will definitely discuss that.
And also 2 little bits. Now I'm not gonna champion them, but My Dear Friend Nokotan is a fun little gag anime that
Okay.
looks pretty good. Like it's well animated. It does seem like it's generally funny. Um, and also, I'll just say this for people who heard a lot of very respectable anime that we put up there, and interesting anime. Um, this anime season's degenerate anime pick is the Fat Elf show, plus size elf.
Oh yeah,
Certain
I've
corners
seen
of the internet have been
that.
wanting it for a long time, and it's finally animated.
Is it good,
So
or is it just like some etchy shit?
it is definitely etchy, but from what I've seen, it's also kind of funny sometimes.
Okay, hell yeah.
So I don't know. By all means, there you go, guys. If you didn't know it came out, the stuff that you've had in your tabs for a long time, it's finally out. It's animated. Enjoy
And
it, I
look,
guess.
anime fans, people who have followed Anime Talk from the beginning, y'all know that our guy Krissa was the etchy guy, and he would always come in here and give etchy. So for Versen picking up the baton from Krissa of giving us the
I
etchy
don't
hit.
want Chris's. I'll take my new fresh baton. I don't want Chris's baton. Like I'm not championing it. I just know that there's demographic, and I'm
Well,
just
you're the
pointing it out.
etchy guy from now on because I don't pay
No,
attention to that shit.
Jazzes!
Oh
Don't do
yeah,
that to
you're
me.
right.
I don't
Well,
want Jazz's baton
it'll,
either.
it'll be a mixture. Well, Jazz still has his baton, but it'll be a mixture of you and Jazz giving us the Krissa etchy love. Shout out to our brother Krissa. He'll be coming on the show again soon. He's working on some fire music. And if you haven't checked out his One Piece Ode album, Grand Line, with him and Nick Grand, it is great. So
It's
shout out
great.
to our guy Krissa.
Get him
But
some
yeah, facts. But okay, now we can get into some of our topics. I will say before we do the My Hero ending, I guess we can do that right now. Now we'll do that first because the My Hero anime this season they picked it up. No movie version, and the season turns out to be well. That makes me so upset that every time we got a My Hero movie, the animation for the season suffered because they focused more on the movie. That's not cool.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. I don't mind the movies so much. Like I think they're fun, but
They don't
you
do
know,
anything.
I don't know. Like map is weird, man. Their
Yeah, well,
priorities are
no, they
weird.
don't
I
even
think.
have Mappa. That's the thing. Like, I wish My Hero had Mappa. My Hero has, hold on, I'll tell you exactly which one My Hero has. My Hero, I think, has Bones, if I'm not mistaken.
Sorry, yes, my
Yeah,
bad.
Bones. Yeah,
Bones
yeah, yeah.
has weird like priorities.
And the fact that they prioritize the movies over the seasons, that is trash to me because this anime, the reason why people fell in love with it because the seasons 1 and 2 were incredible. I would say this is the best season since season 1 and 2 in terms of anime only. I would say season 7 has been great.
I mean, that being said, though, I know it's been a joke for a good while, but like, you know, they put all their love and care into their actual beloved stepchild, which is Mob Psycho 100.
Facts.
That was what was going on, like in the 22 era. I don't know what the excuse is now, but like, My Hero is definitely still not there. I'm more
No, in
excited
terms
for
of
season 2
animation at
Escape the
all.
Infinity than I am My Hero.
Oh,
But
Jesus.
I mean, listen, but the only thing with me about My Hero is like it's not like a bad anime. It's just not particularly amazing. But
Yeah.
like the source material one is overall pretty solid, and I know we're going to talk about that in a second. But
Hmm.
two, they just make like weird little mistakes. Like the
They
backgrounds
do.
sometimes are weird. They
Like,
flub like line reads
and see,
sometimes.
the
Like,
backgrounds
I don't
makes
like
me
it.
upset because the major vigilante Deku season was supposed to happen with clouds and it was supposed to be dark. It was supposed to be reminiscent of Batman and Spider-Man at their lowest points. Like, and they made the season brighter than it's ever been, which is like, what
Mhm.
the fuck are we doing? Like, I was looking so much. I was looking so. I was having. I was looking so much. Looking forward to this so much of the Vigilante Deku season, as well as I think another mistake they made when you're doing My Villain Academia, you shouldn't just change the title card. You should change everything about the season when you're doing My Villain Academia. They had an opportunity to do something really cool where for a season or half a season, they made the show go from My Hero Academia to My Villain Academia. And if they would have really honed in on that creatively, they could have had something special. Horikoshi's manga, I think for the most part, is a really good manga. There's moments where they have cool shit that he did inside of it, and it's a shame that the anime didn't follow suit.
Now, I will say this, and this is not me trying to be a hater at all.
Oh, okay.
Um, first of all, that being said, My Hero fans don't know how bad Bungo Stray Dogs fans have with Bones, because they'll just straight up sometimes not even animate a face.
That's facts.
Which, granted, is kind of funny on its own level, but they
That's
really
horrible.
don't give
Yeah. Because Bungo Stray Dogs also is a good story that deserves a great adaptation.
Now, I will also say, though, just based on the hype that I've been hearing around it, I haven't started it yet, but I think I'd be willing to take a few dings on the My Hero train, although hopefully they do well for the last arcs. If it means that, because I know that Gachi Akuda got picked up by Bones.
I
so
saw
maybe,
that, and it's good too. And see, Gachi Akuda has a very distinct art style. And I feel like that's another thing where if you're doing that specific manga, which I think we can talk not maybe that'll be next week's main topic with so much anime ending, with My Hero being done, JJK should be over soon.
For the guys.
Yeah, Kaiju number 8's not gonna last that much longer. Black Clover's not gonna last that much longer. What are some of the new things that we're excited for? I would say I know Don Don's up there, but Gachi Akita is definitely up there for me, along with Kagura Banshi. I think those are the three right now that and Togen Anki. I think those are the four in terms of shonen action. If you're looking for something new, I think those are the four, that I would say.
And if you're really looking for something new, may I recommend this little-known manga and anime called One Piece by Ichiro Oda, which continues to live forever and always. But
it's crazy, and we can get into My Hero's ending now. It's crazy that Horikoshi sent Oda in a drawing of Smoker when he was I won't say a child, but like middle school, high school era. And that dude graduated, grew up, made his own manga, 400 something chapters, and it's over before One Piece is over. That's insane. Yeah.
Damn, man.
The fact that he grew up, wrote his own manga, and had Oda draw his favorite character as the cover for his ending. That's insane, bro. Like, yeah. I don't understand how Oda's still doing it, but shout out to him. In terms of Horikoshi, I will say, though, Versen, I was not a fan of this ending.
Yeah.
Spoilers are here, so if you don't want to know about My Hero's ending, I would suggest going ahead maybe like 5 to 10 minutes just to be safe.
Yeah, my take on it is, and again, I'm trying not to be a hater. I know it can be a little bit rough on My Hero, but my journey with My Hero was I really liked the beginning. I kind of fell off, not even necessarily a quality thing. I just naturally fell off because I was busy. There's one time where I had to prioritize a couple anime and manga that I really liked. And then I was like, oh, the final battle's happening. I read all the way back up. And granted, this is early in the final battle. Got current, and then I followed it through like the whole way. At the very least, because like, look, I hear that's kind of been like whatever the last like arc or so. But I want to be able to talk about this the same reason why I watched Borderlands this weekend. Even if I don't like something, I want to at least know what I'm talking about because I experienced it firsthand and not just like, Twitter snippets, And I don't know, man. It was better than I kind of thought we were going to land the plane. Thank God they gave us extra chapters after Shigaraki went down. But
Jesus.
I feel like we still could use a couple chapters to do what we want.
Bro, my thing is, My Hero had a chance to be special, and I think it still is, but it had a chance to be in the veins of this generation's Naruto, or like this generation. It had the chance to be up there with the Narutos and the One Pieces, and you know what? It's still up there, but I won't say it's better than those. But like it still is. But my thing is, it had an opportunity to be bigger than all of this. Like it was the top selling manga in America. It was America's number one. It was top on the New York Times for majority of its run.
Marvel MCU was popping.
Yes, it had all the opportunities to take over the superhero culture, and it did for a little bit because it was better than One Punch Man. Like there's arcs that I absolutely love. I want to go through some of these arcs. I'll just mention them really quickly. Like you start off with the entrance exam to the quirk apprehension test to the battle trial arc, all the way up to USJ, and then you get to the sports festival arc. All of that is great, a great opener. You see Deku train, you see his classmates, you see him get to this point, and then now it's like, okay, now we're going to fight Todoroki, and we learn about his past. all of this is great, bro. It is absolutely amazing. We then get to Stain. Okay, we see the first villain, and this. Oh no, it's the next arc that he says what I'm gonna say. You see Stain. You see a villain that actually is scary. I call him their Zabuza, but he has more staying power than Zabuza. Stain actually matters because it's a philosophy that not only hits our protag very hard, but it questions the foundations of this whole story. And Stain's whole philosophy sticks with you from the moment you see him till the end when they finally beat Shigaraki. Stain says the reason why a guy like Shigaraki exists because Hero Society failed, and it was a failure. And at that point, before anything else comes out, I'm like, wow, this is going to really go there. We're going to see the ins and outs of this corrupt thing. We see it at parts, but he doesn't really stick to it. I think that's a major problem with My Hero, that Horikoshi shows us all of these things like that, the corruption of the heroes. You have the racism between the quirk people who look different and the non-quirk, and the quirk people that look like normal humans. He barely went into that. Like, he did a whole section of the ending about that, which I felt was so unearned.
It was late.
It was super late.
Like, I don't, because like that was that, and obviously, and I will say this, the Todoroki family, which obviously everyone more or less agrees,
that was the best
thing he did. Zuko is kind of like some of the best parts of like their respective shows. But like, I don't know, I really wanted more about the heteromorphs. I really like the Sane stuff. And let me say this, it's not that I don't like Heroes or like Hero Society. I think it's interesting.
But the corruption would have been so interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, like we didn't really break the mold. I feel like we kind of like broke off more than they can chew. And a lot of what people like really, granted, maybe we gave them the crown too early. I think a lot of what a lot of people were really expecting with My Hero was, like you said, to come right off of Naruto's heels
and be the new one,
and clearly have seen all the pitfalls that Naruto had, because it was well documented at that point. And then skip over them, but like, I don't know, just like that. Same thing with JJK. I love both series, JJK more so. You keep expecting people to like kind of rise above it,
and they don't.
There's a gravity well. Maybe it's Blackbeard chilling out somewhere, pulling people down. They get trapped in the oil slick.
You said it. I would say JJK, Black Clover, and My Hero. We gave the crowns that these things are going to be Naruto, One Piece, Bleach levels, and they're great, but they just don't meet the expectations. And for an example about My Hero,
and for the record, I would caution anyone giving away the crown too early to the next class.
True. Yeah, no, we got to. And we'll be very careful on that. Look, shit, I was thinking Kaiju number 8, and that's about to end. So, like, to that point, we have to be careful. I'll say this, the Forest Training arc, where we meet the Wild Pussycats, and he gets his first real invasion with Koda, and basically he defeats Muscular. And in that arc, Todoroki tells Deku, why do you expect Koda to listen to you? And yes, talking matters, but it's actions. When I heard that, I was like, oh, he understands. No talk no jutsu. It's about actions. And it's like, oh, we're going to take what Naruto did and build on it. At the point of the Forest Training Camp arc, they had no misses. We're still hitting. You get to the hideout.
The whole crew, because the biggest thing for me was always how much the rest of like Team 7 generation gets fucking dusted. We have cool moments, and everyone has their favorite. Shikamaru's doing cool shit. People like Shino, even though it's kind of a joke. But like, I don't know. And I thought we were going to swerve off of that. But yeah, the rest of the team, we get a big 3, and even then, kind of like Todoroki has a whole backside story.
Hey, I'm gonna give Todoroki credit, because like, at least in Sakura, we didn't learn shit about her, really. Like, Todoroki's whole family was a big part of the story. So I'm going to say Todoroki and Bakugo and Deku got the right amount of love, but there's characters that I wasn't about
Bakugo, Ida. We had the weird...
Yeah. We did?
It got weird.
No, it did.
I don't hate that he's live, but it got fucking weird there.
What about Kirishima? What about Ida? What about Yao Momo? I thought Yao Momo was one of the coolest characters, had one of the coolest quirks. Anything she invents, she could have been Iron Man for damn near, bro, with a jetpack, bullet, like all kind of shit, and a Chaco, Froppy. We could go down the list. There were great characters in that class.
All of the quote-unquote mutant types, if we wanted to do the mutant storyline, should have been getting harassed the whole fucking time.
Facts. You know what I mean? Like, there should have been someone in the class that was racist, honestly.
Or even
or someone at another class.
Whenever me personally, I would make it a point of being like, because we get the second class later, with the other class one.
You could have had someone in there be racist instead
Or,
of your
well,
main
I'm
class.
saying we should have maybe been like, the reason why class 1A is popular is because they have way less of the fruits.
Yeah, no.
Like some
Have it in the
of our
bathroom
guys that we
somewhere
like who
written.
didn't do a lot, we should have had them like kicked off to the other team specifically because in My Heroes Academia, they do talk about publicity. They talk about being like popularity rankings.
It's
We
not
should have
just
been able
power.
to see that kind of
In
come
the
into
school.
play. Or
Yep.
maybe even had a couple things switch around where like maybe there was a popularity contest ranking and it's like, if you fall below this line, you are no longer in 1A. If you fall below this line, you are no longer in this school because on some level we are commercializing this project.
So anything like see, that would have been great. I just watched Degrassi where Spinner wrote some homophobic stuff about Marco in the bathroom. You could have had someone write something in the bathroom and Deku sees it, and like him and the guy with the eyeballs on his hand, they walk in the bathroom together, they see it, Deku tries to erase it. Like anything. Like I think what you said, Versen, is amazing, but I don't even know if they wanted to go that deep. You could have just had anything that would have shown us about
or at least have civilians do shit.
At the sports festival, when Tokiomi comes out, boo him. Don't cheer for him, or have people be scared. And then when he wins, he shows who they really are, and they start to fall. But some people are still racist.
Yeah, like have people demand
Bakugo win or something. Yeah. Anyone that's not him. No, I'm with you. And you get to the hideout raid arc, like I said with Koda. That shit is. Oh no, that's the end of All Might, where Bakugo gets captured. That arc is amazing. When All Might puts his hand up and says it's now on to you, I thought that was a brilliant way to end quote unquote Naruto and go to Naruto Shippuden. It's like, okay, now they're about to do real hero stuff. You then go from that.
I will applaud Horikoshi for keeping our boy alive the whole time, because it would have been so easy to just murder him. Like,
All Might, yeah.
See, I appreciate it, and I liked this part of the fight too. I thought it was fun.
No, get real quick. I'm gonna just run through. Keep saying which of these arcs is where it falls off, and then we can talk all about the ending. You get the provisional hero license where they get their license. You go straight into Overhaul, the Shihai Asakai or whatever. I'm just say Overhaul. That arc was great. You bring in the Yakuza. You bring in a great shit with these quirk-destroying bullets to keep eyes off of the League of Villains. I thought that was incredible. Like, you still have to have the League of Villains here, but let's move them to the side. You have to have someone just as important. Okay, we're bringing in the Yakuza. Overhaul arguably was, I'm not going to say he's better than Shigaraki, but Overhaul's up there in terms of a good villain for the series. He was a good pain.
Except his quirk use.
Yeah, for sure.
He did not know how to use his quirk. Outside of abusing a little girl.
Yeah, he could have did a lot of better shit. But at that point, we get introduced to Mirio, into Sun Eater, and into I can't think of the girl's name because Horikoshi didn't give her enough shine. Nigeri. Those three is the big three, basically the Sanin of My Hero. They were great additions. Lemillion was incredible. The guy who was supposed to be Deku and All Might's former sidekick, who is training, who he thinks should be the new All Might. He doesn't like Deku. And that whole arc was incredible. Like, I think that's one of my favorite arcs. And then, from that moment, we go into the remedial arc where Bakugo and Shoto have to get their license. That's cool. But then we get into Gentle. And, I don't hate Gentle as much as other people do. But the moment we get to Gentle, that's when it's like, all right, it's falling down a little bit. Oh, we didn't get the Endeavor arc. Okay, it picks it up a little bit. We get joint training where we learn about Shinso. Okay, it's not as good. And then boom, we get to the Meta Liberation Army arc where it's like, okay, this shit is, now we're picking up Endeavor arc, My Villain Academia. Boom, fire. We get into the war. It's like, okay, all right, Deku, shit's getting bad. Deku has to go off on his own. We get the Vigilante with Lady Nagant. I'm thinking this shit's going to be great. Into the Trader, and then we get into the final war arc, which we just go around everywhere. All Might fight, basically the freak fight, the weirdo fight. We get the Ochako fight. We get all these different area. Bakugo dies and all this shit. It just felt very sporadic at the end. It felt very disjointed. He tried to do too much too soon.
Like, I think we need to have a serious discussion, and I say this knowing that One Piece is my favorite manga, and I know how it will probably end, at least very basically, which is do we and can we sustain big wars in manga?
Yeah, bro. Like
Kingdom can, but that's not with a bunch of named characters all the time.
And One Piece has its tropes, but I think One Piece has. Look, Naruto couldn't, and I would say Bleach couldn't either for the most part. Like Thousand Year Blood War arc when it first came
The
out,
run-up was really good.
It was not when it first came out. People thought it was He fixes it and gives more shit into it because he realized he jam-packed too much shit in it.
He was burning out.
Yeah, and I think Horikoshi boned out at the end, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, and you could tell there were certain points that of the ending that he really did well. All Might turning into Iron Man / Batman, I think he did really, really well. But Bakugo's death and comeback, not that great. I would say the handling of Gigantomachia, not that great. I would say all for one turning into this baby, like shit, not that great.
It was funny though to watch Bakugo stomp him out. You can't do that.
And then having
the quirk punches was kind of odd. Like I got what they were going for, but I don't know.
All for One saying he controlled Shigaraki so much to the point that he gave him the quirk, like the ultimate mastermind.
Yeah.
Didn't like that. I will say the handling of Dabi and Todoroki was great. And like I said, the All Might shit was great, but I didn't even like how it ended with Deku. Like you said, punching One for All into Shigaraki, or into All for One, so they could get Shigaraki to release it. Like, I just didn't like any of that. And then at the end, for Deku to lose all his powers, and no matter what version, this story to me, they said in the beginning, this is a story of how I became the greatest hero, the best hero of all time. I hate the fact that it became this friendship. It was about how we became the best hero of all time.
I mean,
that's not why I signed up for that. I know.
I called that chapter 1.
But look, to me,
like,
I believe.
Dude, you're lucky that he even still is alive, because I thought whenever. And I told this in a mission before, I thought the way that from chapter 1,
I would have rather him die, bro.
I thought he was going to carry on as like an ember into someone's soul, maybe Bakugo, maybe someone, as in being like how I became the greatest hero, as in I became a vestige.
Because I sacrificed myself. That, to me, I still think he's the greatest hero of all time if he sacrifices himself and dies. To me, that would have been better than just, it's about how we became. No. I hate that shit. And the fact that he lost his powers, had to teach for a bit, and now we get this Iron Man suit at the end, but we don't get to see it. It's like, bro, what the fuck?
I don't even really like that he got it. Like, I think if he's going to be quirkless, you could probably just make him quirkless. Like, make him, like, I'm fine with him being a teacher, I guess, but I thought the last scene we ever would see would be him in a giant command tower somewhere, literally being like the president of Hero Society, basically.
The general.
Not everyone, but, of strictly heroes, and being like, we're going to do this completely different top-down. I'm going to strategize it. And I really thought he was going to have no quirks at the end, which he didn't. But like,
I would have been cool with that. That even goes
it almost feels like
being the greatest hero.
Right? It almost feels like they gave it so you can see glimpses of him in a spinoff.
Look, and see, my thing is, Horikoshi always, and when he first started, he wanted him to be Batman, this quirkless hero who uses these gadgets but really uses his brain. And Deku really used his brain. And I'm okay with him having support stuff and like tech to be a hero. I'm okay with that spinoff, seeing that. But like, I just think the way you ended it to get there, it didn't pay off, man. And you know me, I love My Hero. My Hero was, out of all the new gen, I still am a My Hero fan over JJK and Black Clover. I would say Black Clover's 2, JJK's 3 for me, and then everything else. But My Hero, all of the beginning, I loved the All Might fight. And then it just seems like everything after that All Might versus All for One fight, it fell off for me. It really did. And if I'm going to criticize Demon Slayer like I do, and I say Demon Slayer's ending basically ruins a lot of the shit that happens in Demon Slayer, I have to be honest about this ending really harming it. It really did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
I do.
The ending takes it, if you had it at an A or a B+, the ending brings it down to a B-, C+.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, again, burnout is real. It happens. I don't judge any mangaka for it or any person for it.
And
for that
see,
matter.
maybe he should have took a break like the Black Clover mangaka did, because Tabata was like, I'm going through the series won't end right. And I think My Hero was too popular, just like JJK is at this point. I don't think they are going to give Gege a break, and I don't think they could have afforded to give Horikoshi a break, which I think is trash. I think both of them deserved a break, so they could have ended this the right way. Like, imagine if before the war starts, like right when they're getting ready, when All For One breaks out of the prison, and Stain and the Gaunt and all that, before the great vigilante arc that I love. If he would have took a break right there, I guarantee you this ending would have been better. Because like Stars and Stripe felt like an afterthought, and Star and Stripe was supposed to be super important. Like, you're introducing America, you're bringing these other heroes in. If that guy would have had a break, I guarantee you this war would have been better version, because we could have got to see how the other heroes affected this war. It's just like, oh, they were there.
I think that might almost be something, and not to get conspiratorial, but like the way that we're scared of doing world traveling arcs now, like we used to see in anime, that almost might be something that's coming down from Shonen Jump, because Gege was doing it too in JJK, and then he rubber banded that shit back. Like, he'll still acknowledge it because Miguel exists, but like he had to fucking be like, oh fuck, like I need to pull this shit back. No matter what.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. That might be a Shonen Jump mandate, because you're absolutely right. Black Clover, we were supposed to go to that other world, Yami's world, and we were only there for a tiny, tiny portion, yanked him back. My Hero, he talked about the Egypt hero. He talked about America's hero. He talked about so many heroes, and we got to see pictures of them, and it's like, oh yeah, we're going to see how they affect this, and instantly yanked out of here. That to me is a huge problem with the ending of My Hero. And maybe Versen, it was yanked because they were trying to save the dollar of the future spinoffs. Like My Hero America or whatever they're going to do next.
Yeah. My America Academia. Avoid the bullets, you know?
Because I'm going to be honest, more so than any of these manga, out of any of them that deserves a spinoff, it's My Hero, because of what we know about the superhero genre. Of there's comics, like he built this world, but there, like we saw My Hero Vigilante. My guy Dan Exclaimed, who has the best bar on YouTube, he thinks that My Hero Vigilante was way better than My Hero, and it deserves an anime. Like, you could do the American stuff. You could pick any country in the world and say, hey, we're going to do a spinoff. And to your point about Shonen Jump mandated, look at Bleach. He wanted to do Burn the Witch and send them to England. They were like, no, yank that shit back.
Let me say something, and I'm going to have to kind of talk around it, but there is a web novel that I really appreciate that I loved with all my heart. It was
Worm?
Worm is that, but it's actually by the same author, Wildbow. It's his magic series.
Okay.
So like witches and magic and shit.
Gotcha.
He has two series in that setting right now, Pact and then Pale. And there is a shadowy threat that is hinted out in both of these series. And whenever the second series was coming down, we all thought the third one was going to be about this threat. I won't get too into details because it's spoilers. Needless to say, I'll say this. The third series is no longer going to be about that in a very definitive way. No, but here's the thing.
It's a good thing?
He actually did it in a masterful way that I think a lot of like Mangaka can learn about it, because he said, instead of building up to this big thing, I'm changing the game. It is going to be shadow proxy wars, deep intrigue, like low-level stuff of like, you never know who to trust. Everything's on the table. Like, we're going to do less big battles, but every single little fight you have is going to be meaningful. Because we don't know who's on our side and who isn't. So whenever you're prepared to pull the trigger, you better fucking know. And you better be prepared to fuck it up.
My Hero America would be perfect for that, because they said it was more dark. They said it was darker than Japan. Japan just had one demon lord of All For One. They said America's corrupted to its core because of all the little gangs, all the different mafia villain leagues. And I think that would be great, because you don't know if the cops are on your side. You don't know if the government's on your side. So we have to, basically do this, like you said, shadow proxy war, man.
And it's just one of those things where, I don't know, I think it's another discussion to have of like, again, like longevity. Like, I know a lot of people listen to us, and me and you, we came up in the Big Three era. I don't think that was healthy for the creatives. I mean, I don't know how Oda's still doing it, but also I don't know if we should expect that anymore. Like, maybe My Hero, I wouldn't say it went on too long, but maybe like
we expect
maybe more mangakas should be more comfortable with telling a story, getting in, getting out.
ending.
And
Yeah.
if they do pop off, having a spinoff, because I think some things in My Hero could have better explored in the spinoff, but because it was introduced as part of the main thing, you know, it had to get pushed by the wayside.
The whole freak side, or I don't want to keep calling them the freaks, but you know, the
metamorphs,
the metamorph, like that could have been a whole series by itself, bro.
Yeah.
You could have had that be in America where the racism's real, and like you could have definitely went in on that, how there's these protests, and like, nah, I agree with you for sure.
And I don't know, like, you're encouraged to like put so many things out there and so many plot threads. Like, he forgot about the traitor arc.
Oh, he
like,
definitely
so
did. He made it naval laser, and like, to me, I don't think naval, like, I know he had naval laser, and I went back and looked. There's moments where he shows like, oh, it could have been naval laser, but there was moments where people thought it was Kaminari, and like there was legitimate shit to and I think if Kaminari it would have been that much bigger to the story. I think they should have picked someone who mattered more. Like, that's the thing that he was setting up for the traitor thing, was that it was someone that was close to Deku, someone that really affected everything.
Yeah, and like, I don't even mind necessarily who it ended up being, but like the fact that it was clearly a case of, because he did sprinkle for a good few people, where you could, if you really wanted to,
was one, Naval Laser was one, the Invisible Girl was one.
It really didn't end up mattering who, you could have put anyone in there, and it probably would have been the same, because at the end of the day, Deku would be like,
we forgive you,
my best friend. You guy who can talk to little animals, you to my quinceañera, we were best friends. You know, how could you do this to me?
And I don't want people to think we're like because we've been really negative, but like, it's us being honest. Like, this is how much I love My Hero, that I need to just get this out, because I think My Hero should have ended a lot better than it did. And I think My Hero is a series that could have been in the echelons with the One Pieces, with the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood as an A+ shonen. I think it had what happened to Naruto, what happened to Demon Slayer, just a bad ending. And it's better than Demon Slayer in my opinion, but I don't know if I could put it in the same tier as Naruto. I think My Hero finishes off in the B tier, B minus.
You know what happens? Like, here's another reference to
Promised Neverland. We saw that happen to that shit too.
Here's another reference, and I think it's apt to again, that story I was telling you about from Wild Bow. You know what happens to big animals in nature whenever they get to a certain age? Like, whenever they're fully primed. If you don't get them out when they're young, they are, generally speaking, are killed because they get either too old to hunt, or they get parasites, or they die of disease in old age. And I just feel like it got a little bit too big. It couldn't turn on a swivel like it could. It wasn't going to get axed because it still did great numbers. And let me also say this. Everything I said before, My Hero's still like at least like a 7, and there's nothing wrong with being a 7 or 8 or whatever manga.
That's what I'm saying.
BC+. Yeah, people throw away the term mid around too much, like it's an insult. Mid or being higher than mid is not like supposed to be an automatic insult. That's just, any tuber brain infected.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't know. Like, after what, like, whenever you expect a show to pop off and then it lets you down, it does hurt more.
It does.
Than a show that you never had expectations, and it turns out it was great.
Because I expected My Hero to be an A to at lowest B+ series, and it turns out to be a B to C+, depending on how people feel about it. And like you said, there's nothing wrong with being that. It's just our expectations, just like with JJK, we're too high.
Yeah, and I'm still rocking with JJK. I've only really started feeling the fatigue in this very last arc, but I don't know, man. Depending on how the end happens, it could go wherever. I still love the beginning, but the end can definitely affect things. And Naruto is informative as, really good manga to really sink your teeth into. But between the filler and then the war arc, and then some things with Boruto is cool, some things aren't.
Like, Boruto became cool once they did the time skip, because like I read Boruto now, and I didn't basically read the beginning like Fire told me. I could just read the wiki and see what happened and jump on at the time skip, and I felt like I missed nothing.
Yeah,
which could be a problem in itself.
Exactly. It's like there's just one web series that I really like. It was really important to my childhood, and it came out with basically its version of Boruto. It was a loosely based thing by creators with the blessing of the author. And dude, whenever I tell you they shit the bed so hard. Like the team literally all got fired and they came in with a new team, and now that a new team's in it, it's better. But you still at least vaguely have to read like the equivalent of like
some of that shit, yeah.
300 pages of them like jerking themselves off and doing literally in story, they address it as like, we've done nothing for the entire story so far. We're going to start moving shit and doing shit. Like a character almost looks at the camera and says, "We're going to start doing shit now."
Yikes, that's not good.
Like, god damn, dude.
That's not good. But, all right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to something that we truly, truly love, and that's the One Piece Egghead anime arc. So if you're not caught up with that, you can skip ahead to our best mangaka discussion, but let's get into that right now. All right, sorry about the technical difficulties, ladies and gents. I had to do a quick bathroom break, but this is Anime Talk. Like we said, let's get into the One Piece Egghead arc. Oh, man, Versen. This arc might be better than Wano in terms of the anime. Mm-hmm. Like, all the stuff they're adding, the fights, the moments. Like, you could go from Lucci to Luffy to Shanks and Kid to Blackbeard and Law. And now, Garp? The Garp shit looks insane, bro. I can't imagine how Saturn and the Gorge are going to look.
You and I both know, as I've said before, and granted, I guess, yeah, light spoilers for anyone who is.
Oh yeah, I can't. My bad for saying that, but we knew about Sat. We saw things about, so I won't say any more about that. We'll just talk about the anime.
I'll say this. There's a flashback, as you know, that I've been hyped for. I think it's some of the best storytelling in One Piece. When it gets animated, and I see what they do with the lighting, and when I see what they do, it is going to be peak to the point where I'm currently going over One Piece with my partner, and we're making our way steady. When that gets animated and it's fully done, I might skip ahead just to that one flashback to show off some stuff, just to be like, look
this
at
is what you're looking forward to.
Peak.
Oh man, and see, not unlike, just like the Odin flashbacks, there's things in this upcoming flashback that not necessarily have to do with the character it's about, but more so with the world around it. How Odin dealt with Whitebeard and Roger. There's stuff about the world that this flashback's gonna have, bro. Versen, that's gonna be insane, man.
The Forrest Gump of One Piece, because even if he don't do shit, he's always been there.
Like, and whatever happens with the Straw Hats to end this, and Vegapunk, and bro, like, this shit is about to be insane. Just knowing how Garp and Aokiji looks, and this isn't even the full Garp and Aokiji fight. Like, we still have more of it to go. Like, when I saw Aokiji pick up that basically pencil-looking freaking piece of ice and chunk it at Garp, and Garp just did, and it went by like the Matrix, and he did his fucking fist punching like frozen rocks at him and grabbing him with the hockey and throwing him down. Garp is the strongest hockey user we've seen based upon the anime, at least. Like, I know Shanks had divine departure and some cool Wi-Fi shit, but what Garp is doing is next level in terms of this hockey shit.
Yeah, and not only that, but we also have to keep in mind, like, a one-shot is cool, but a fight's always better.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And like, I'm a Shanks guy, but this Garp shit is, like, the Shanks shit, I would say, I would rank higher than Blackbeard and Law in terms of the manga. But in the anime, the Shanks shit is third. Like, Blackbeard and Law got great shit added to it. More characterization on Van Arger, what we needed. More characterization on the people around Blackbeard, like Stronger and Doc Q. Like, that pushed that Law Blackbeard fight to number 2, with Shanks being 3, and then Garp and Aokiji for just the stuff we know is coming. Bro, that shit's insane. But for people being like, oh, Garp could go fight for Kobe, but not Ace, I think y'all are idiots, because it's simple comprehension. Garp was not going to save Ace because Ace was a pirate, and Garp tried to change his whole mentality, whereas Kobe is a Marine. Like, he's the future of the Marines. Like Garp said, he's the one Marine that Garp knows has the perfect ideology. Of course he's going to go save him.
Well, and also, the Monkey D family respects people's choices. Ace made that choice, and
Garp's gonna respect it.
And Garp already was torn up inside, and I do believe him whenever he said, hold me
If
down,
Ace would have
Goku,
asked.
or I'm going to fuck him up. And yeah, and also if Ace had buried his pride a little bit and asked, but two, also we have to keep in mind, and I do think most people understand this, but for those of you who somehow are into this 20-year-long story and still don't get like one of the most pivotal parts of it, there is something that means so much more and is so much more important to Garp attacking a fleet admiral candidate while the fleet admiral is next to him with a live broadcast, siding with Whitebeard, the world's
It's not
strongest
Roger.
pirate.
It's Whitebeard and Ace. Like this
And
isn't like his
everyone would
bestie.
know it. Like he would have to leave or die, or like the
His
hero of
whole
the Marines
identity would
no
be dead.
longer
Yeah,
exists.
facts.
Like immediately after they start rebuilding, anyone who had Garp-like tendencies is probably either
Outta
getting
here.
fucking ditched or executed
Or killed. Kobe might have died. Like for
Like,
doing
yeah.
all that shit with a kind. Like Kizaru might have killed him.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just a completely different world. Like, I think if you put out Kainu and you put Garp there and a weakened Ace on, like, an island middle of nowhere, I think Garp saves Ace. It is completely different whenever you're at Marine Ford HQ, broadcasted, and everyone's going to know what happened.
Completely. No, I agree. But how do you feel about the Egghead arc so far in terms of animation? I think if it's not on par with Wano, I think it's better than Wano.
I really like it. I think sometimes like the colors get a little washed out, but like overall I think it's pretty good. I don't know. I mean, it does have the constant leering problem of Usopp being a fucking ghost, but otherwise I have really no complaints.
Hey,
you know, and I know people complain about it a lot, but fuck, man, between this and what's up with Studio,
I was about to say I think Toei does a better job, but with Studio, look, it looks good, but the way that we whitewashed Usopp, but gave him the stereotypical Japanese black lip color, it's just that's insane to me, bro.
I've seen art styles where you can incorporate it to where like it's still like a larger lipped character and not be donuts. Like Steven Universe does it, they do it fine, you know, like
Garnet's lips are perfect. Literally.
Yeah. Or even Amethyst, you know, like almost like a puppy dog, you know, kind of face.
But the Mr. Popo, like the One Punch Man black character, like anytime you do what they did, it's just like, what are you doing? And it's not even on Oda, it's not on Toei. This is a Wit Studio choice, because Toei, I'll say, even though they're whitewashing him, his lips aren't the problem. Like when he's dark, his lips aren't the problem.
Yeah.
This, you whitewashed him and gave him the stereotypical.
And not only that, but it's one of those things where it's like, you know, I think it's a 3-4 problem. First of all, whenever One Piece started, it was forever ago, which still isn't an excuse, but this is fresh. This is a remaster. We have the live action. You could have just mapped more to the live action.
And Toei changed it, like, and they're remastering. Like you said, it was an older anime. It was a different time, not to excuse it. But when Toei redid Romance Dawn and all that early shit, they changed how Usopp looked to be less racist.
And not only that, but also one other minor complaint, I guess, while we're in this like micro tangent about Wit, I don't like how we're already starting with like Nami and presumably some of the other women starting a little bit with Toei style, which granted, Toei does have a bad habit of exaggerating Oda's like somewhat sexist style. Yeah. We could have fixed that and made them look like normal humans, and Nami already is going to have more of a chest and like more of a slim waist to start, just so it doesn't look goofy whenever post-time happens and whenever she gets like triple cup size compared to what she had at the start.
No, you're right. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, like I don't know. Wit Studios Cool or whatever, they are like a great animation team, but I might have to pass on that a little bit. Like I don't know. I might just stick with like getting like a super cut up One Piece. Like cut all the filler out. Like
yeah,
cut.
I'm definitely not gonna watch that, bro. Like I'm not interested in that. I have the manga. I have the anime. Like maybe I'll watch big fights to see if they change it. But in terms of watching that week to week, no sir.
Yeah, like I'll probably watch clips, and they can still bring it back, but also Wit already has said that they're doing weird stuff with maybe AI specifically for the One Piece thing. So I was already going to maybe give it a pass. And I don't know. It also makes One Piece fans really goofy on Twitter, where they're like, Usopp was never black. Just because Oda said he was from Africa doesn't mean he has to be black.
Look at the live action who Oda chose.
Yeah. Also, it's like, I get that just because you live in a country doesn't mean you have to be the predominant race, but that's like, why am I crazy for saying a guy from Africa is probably black Why is that so much crazier than saying they found one of the few white people from Africa, in
Also,
casting?
they're not gonna like the fact that when Arlong's black, I mean not Arlong, Blackbeard's black too, because he's
No,
from
dude,
Somali.
I saw
Like
somebody say that. Uh,
ooh, bless you.
sorry about that. No, dude, I also had
We
someone
got the
say that.
hiccups, sneezing. It's going all around on this pod today.
Sorry, I also heard someone say that Blackbeard isn't black. I don't
That's
know.
crazy, bro. He's straight up from Somalia. Like
And the anime makes him darker in part because he's evil,
on purpose.
which is
That
its own
too.
fucked up thing.
Yeah, no, that is
But
fucked up.
I mean, come on, man.
He's clearly
Yes,
black.
he's
He has
black.
like Jerry curl. Like him. I would say him and Usopp, based upon their hair and certain other qualities, show that they're black. Like, and I know people are gonna be like, well, what about Brook? Look, bro, Brook just has an afro. Like, he just has an afro. There's some Jewish people with froze. Like, it is what it is. But those two
my hair
characters,
before I grew it out got really curly too. Like,
look, it happens.
But I also wouldn't hate it if they made Brook black. Fuck it.
Me neither. But
whatever.
Sure, Yasopp, Usopp, and Blackbeard are black characters. They are. I'm sorry.
But to get back to the Egghead.
Yeah, anything else you got on Egg? I love it, and I think if you are a One Piece fan who has been anime only, Egghead is rewarding you. Wano rewarded you. Like, these arcs are giving you stuff a little more than the manga got. So I would say you guys are getting more characterization.
I was gonna hit on that point exactly, which is to say, if you're a manga only and are watching Anime Talk, I'm not saying you have to like start picking up the anime or whatever, but like Otis pretty much straight up said, "Look, y'all, it's the final saga. I'm trying to get out of here before I die." Like, so the anime is gonna be picking some shit up.
I'm not trying to be like Tagashi. No, sir.
Or Mir,
Oh,
like,
rest in peace.
Rest in peace, of course. And I'm not saying that to be flippant at all. I'm just saying he has been talking to the anime staff, and he is going back, and he is relying that as a secondary medium.
I mean, look, One Piece Film Red ruined some of the Wano shit, and we see in the anime they added a good bit to Wano, and they probably could have added more, but Oda didn't want to drastically change what the manga readers read.
Yeah, and I will just say this also, just in general. I don't know, man. I said it on the manga. I'll say it here. Anime and manga both for Egghead. We got shit we never thought we were going to get. We thought this was a pit stop. It is not. It is some of the most important fucking thing. I still don't agree with Odo, where I hope half of y'all realized he was joking. You cannot pick it up in Egghead.
Brother.
But
Jay hits us with that all the time. Oda said we could start now. No, bro. That is just so people don't get spoiled. If you started at Egghead, you would have so much shit ruined. And like, there's things that happen in every arc and that
20
lead
years
up.
of build up.
Yeah, that makes Egghead worth it. Like, there's stuff in Skypiea that is still relevant to this day.
Yeah, like, I don't know, man. I don't know. So anyway, watch the anime.
Yeah, watch Egghead,
read
for
the
sure.
manga. If
That's
you
a
are
fact.
manga only, at least check out some of the extra stuff because it's really cool. It's good filler. We need to see, and I wish Jazz were here
I
because
wouldn't
he
even
would bring
call
it
it
up.
filler.
Well, that's just it. But my point is, I kind of want to make filler a little bit less of a derogatory term because there are some anime that are trying to be a little like fillerless, like JJK, a show that I love, but nevertheless,
down moments.
Yeah, man. Like
that's typical Jazz. Jazz says some of his favorite parts of One Piece is when the crew interacts and we're traveling. And some of his favorite JJK moments was him, the classmates or the crew talking to each other, and we're not getting any talking in JJK that's not fight related.
And for that matter, also One Piece has kind of cut out some of it too, like in the later seasons, because of the fact that our cast is so huge. Tom, we could have spent hanging out with the Straw Hats to spin around the world. And don't get me wrong, I love it; it's peak. But still, how many genuine interactions have we had with Jinbei as the latest Straw Hat? He barely feels like he's in there right now. You know, I know everybody likes him
there because Luffy made him in there. It's not like the other characters where they grew with everyone.
And don't get me wrong, the other characters like Jinbei. I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying he's not a real Straw Hat. But I don't know how he acts with other characters. Whereas if I know Sanji and if Sanji and Usopp are in the same page, I know what their relationship is like as a duo. Yeah. Same thing with Sanji and Brook or whatever, or
Sanji and Robin,
Zoro and Brook, Frankie and Brook. Even characters who don't get a ton of screen time, like some of the back half Straw Hats. I still at least have an idea so far of how they interact. Jinbei less so. I know his role. He's kind of like the dad figure, and that's fine, and it's funny. But I don't know how he interacts with individual, crewmates yet.
Yeah, and I think we'll see some of that heading into Elbaf.
Did he ever see S Shark?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Okay. He does.
I was gonna say
he definitely. And him and Sanji talked about it, like, which was a good moment. Him, Sanji, and Nami does. So continue watching Egghead for those that don't know what me and Versen are talking about. But I'll say this, and this will be my final thing. I think in terms of anime of the year, One Piece is going to be nominated. And I know it's a returning anime. That's why, at least in the Anime Talk Awards, we do Best New Anime and Best Returning. So each could get an award. And then we have Anime of the Year separate from those two. But One Piece is arguably up there, Versen, as a top anime of this year. It happened with Wano. It's happening again with Egghead.
Yeah, and like you said, outside of a few things, don't get me wrong, I really liked Wano a lot. But we got a lot accomplished all over the world in Egghead. We're not doing that isolationist thing again. Maybe a little bit in Elbaf, but we're in the final saga. We're going to be constantly going around the map because we have to.
Yep.
You know,
and like, we're learning about everyone else. Like, the Kuja pirates, seeing Rayleigh go out and stop Blackbeard was in Egghead, man. This shit was jam-packed.
Yeah. Like, damn. But that being said, though, damn, Oda, I don't necessarily need a full-time skip, but he packs so much into, like, what is, like, one day in the One Piece world. Jesus Christ.
True. All right, so y'all check out Egghead, but now for our final topic, which is, who are the best mangaka today? Who do you think are some of the best active mangaka, and how do you think they compare to previous generations?
Well, I like this new guy. He's really young, but he's kind of getting at it. His name is Ichiro Oda. I think if he really tries hard, he could someday become better than Ichiro Oda. You know, so, but I don't know, man. He's really gonna have to like try really hard to do that. But no, I don't know. I'm just making a joke because of how fucking ridiculous
long it is. Yeah, no, I get it. I would say for me, in terms of like some of the best new gen and some of the best mangaka in this new era, I'm gonna start off with this guy because what he did by fusing the mafia genre with this doting husband and having comedy, he toed the line perfectly where for people who like comedy, you get that. For people who like action, you get that. But he doesn't let either one overtake the other, and the story is great. I'm going with the creator of Sakamoto Days, Yuto Suzuki. Yuto Suzuki is one of the best today. His art is incredible. The way he draws Sakamoto Days, the way he draws the fight scenes, the way he draws the emotional moments, the way he can write those emotional moments throughout a fight scene and making... We know fight scenes are good, but the more you have emotional weight behind it, the more the fight scenes are better. And Suzuki-san is one of the best today at it. I would say Yuta Suzuki falls in line with the same people who did Loop. He gives you Lupin the Third vibes. He gives you he falls in line with the Trigun creator, Cowboy Bebop. I think Suzuki is picking up the mantle from those guys who made that style of manga, specifically Lupin the Third, because I would say Sakamoto Days is more of akin to Lupin the Third than Trigun or Cowboy Bebop because of the comedy. And I think it's brilliant, and I think it's arguably the best new gen now that My Hero and JJK have had dumps. I think if Sakamoto Days finishes well, this will be regarded as one of the best of this new era.
Yeah, I totally agree. Kind of staying close to home. Big shout out to Tetsuya Endo, the mangaka for Spy Family. Someone who is single-handedly trying to raise the Japanese birth rate on his shoulders by showing you how you too can have a loving wife and husband and an adorable child. You don't even have to have the kid yourself. Adopt a kid, please, please, please adopt a kid. You know, like, I don't know. Just I know some people feel like Spy Family's fallen off, but I don't know. They just came off of a nice little mini arc for their 100th chapter. Really good. I think, you know,
the way they do the family dynamic. I think that in
even
itself,
then, the family dynamic, the world building, even though the world is obviously very grounded, like every time we get to talk to people who are veterans of the war between the East and the West and why
amazing.
it happens, it reaffirms why, why the mission is so important. Like we get Lloyd backstory that's super important. We also get like we got backstory recently, like the arc I'm talking about is with like the butler, like headmaster, and like and Black Bell, Anya's little friend, her like her lady butler basically, and how they used to have a romance, and like he was her senpai, and like at one point he had to teach her like the last end, and she volunteered for the first like women's brigade to go to war, and then it was revealed like it was mostly a publicity stunt. They didn't expect any of them to survive. She did. She got back out there, and how they've been pining after each other for decades, but he thought that she was dead, and so like they couldn't be together, so he remarried, like, so he married someone else or whatever. She comes back, but he's married. He's a good man. He's not going to just like divorce this woman who he has a fondness for, even though he doesn't love her. Amazing shit. Amazing shit between old characters, which takes a lot of balls. And it's not old as like they're old, but oh my God, they're like sexy and built like an anime, like old and very cool and refined characters, but still, you don't get that anywhere else. Spy Family explores themes that you really don't get anywhere in a run-of-the-mill anime or manga, and I think in large part it's because of the fact that like the creator's good and managed to blow up, and now some people see it as falling off a little bit. I think it's getting comfortable and almost like in a very Oda way is like I think I can make this story as long as I want to, so let's take our time, let's enjoy it, and let's explore everything we want to. Let's not rush it. Because again, like at any time, Spy Family could end not because of cancellation, but like there are ways to like wrap it up, like. And I'm like, we do have like a small like system with the Temetrus bolts and everything that we can slowly work toward. So much like Sukuna's fingers or whatever, if we ever want to just rush to the end, we could just
do that. Yep.
Knock it out in a few chapters and do it. But we're taking our time, we're slow rolling it, we're increasing the family and the world, and I just love it so much.
Hell yeah, that's a great choice. I'm gonna go with Tsubasa Yamaguchi. She is incredible. The way that she told the story in Blue Period that made me care about this guy, that his passion, he had to find his passion, which was painting, and it's how he's navigating that from high school to finding a career post high school in the college and in the art world. I think she told, and it's telling because it's still going on, a beautiful story. The fact that this woman made me care about painting in this guy's quest to be a good painter, in his quest to be a good author, a good artist, is incredible, because everybody, no matter what it is, we all have passions, and we all know what it's like to chase our passion and chase your dream. And this story is the perfect coming of age story about someone following their dreams and trying to follow your passion. If you're someone out there that is, has a dream but doesn't think it's possible, or has a dream and it doesn't seem possible, read Blue Period, because it will give you so much inspiration to continue on forward with your dream. And I have to thank Miss Yamaguchi, because this changed my life, and I can't say that about every manga. And the fact that she made this, it is incredible. It's beautifully written and beautifully drawn, and it's the perfect coming of age.
As for me, I know that I hyped up the anime, but I will say this. I think this is one of the few manga/anime where you could read the entire manga and still enjoy the anime, even though you know it's coming.
Ooh, I know where you're
Again,
going.
because Trigger is so good. Ryoko Kui of Dungeon Meshi fame, aka Delicious in Dungeon, is so good. Like, the art style is good. Like, in the themes that you really get to express in the back half, like, don't get me wrong, front half of Dungeon Meshi, very, very good. The back half, though, is some stuff like you won't see anywhere. It's different. It's weird. It's like gross. It's a little uncomfortable. But like the themes that if you really adapt to the world and you're like, you come with an open mind and you really let it go, like the themes sing on a level. Like it's raw and it's brutal and like it's animalistic. It's like nature, like the process of eating, but also devotion and love for family and friendship, but also like, like real love, and also like how a lot of like these societies like just kind of like leave weird people behind, because everyone in the dungeon, as you slowly get to do it, they're all freaks and weirdos. That's why they're not sitting at home comfortable. Also, I'll just say this as someone who's a longtime dungeon master for D&D games and also Pathfinder and our One Piece game, like,
Yep.
it's for the freaks and the weirdos, and she gets that, you know? Like, the people who are kind of at the outer edge of society, but who still, like, do heroic, awesome, cool things, and all of that is explored, you know, in a very beautiful, subtle way, inside of the manga.
No,
And I
I'm
can't
with
recommend
you.
it enough.
That is great. Another one I'm gonna mention in terms of, and I know the back half of the question was, how do they compare to previous generations? This is someone who picked up the baton from the person who made Slam Dunk, from the person who made Kuroko no Basket, and from the latest great, which is Haikyuu. This is the creator of Blue Lock, Munyuki Kanshiro, and he writes it, and then Yusuke Nomura is the illustrator. So this isn't just one mangaka. This is two with Miyuki Kanshiro and then Yusuke Nomura. So for the first part, I'll talk about the story. Kanshiro. You could tell that Kanshiro knows so much about soccer. The fact that he made each character based upon a famous soccer player, down to not just the traits, but the way they act, and then incorporating the different leaders in the soccer world as different figures from legends from the soccer world is amazing. You could tell everything about this is studied to a T. But what makes sports, manga, and anime great, yes, the sports has to be right. Yes, the powers inside of the sports has to match up. But what makes it great is the interaction between teammates, and where Haikyuu, I think, dominated with how characters interacted on the bus, or how characters interacted in practice, or how characters interacted outside of the game. I think that's where they nailed it. With Blue Lock, they nail inside the game trash talk. Like how players not necessarily are playing the game, but how players mentally are handling the words that are said to them and how that affects the game. The way that Kanshiro executes that is brilliant. And then after, how you feel towards opponents and how you feel towards teammates not necessarily are always happy. It's not always the happy bus ride. Sometimes we have to argue about what you did, and I think the way he handles that is great. And then in terms of the art style from Nomura, incredible. Blue Lock is drawn incredibly. It's drawn like it's some action shonen, but it's a soccer manga. It looks awesome. So everything about Blue Lock, I think, takes the Haikyuu and Kuroko no Basket's baton and carries it to a new level.
The last person I'm going to bring up, so I'm going to give like a quick like little honorable mention, because these are the two who helped get this young man on the path, which is shout out to Fujimoto, as always, great, and Kaku Yuji of Hell's Paradise. Yep. But if you want a synthesis, if you want a lot of that great, awesome art style and a lot of that introspection, you know, and if we're not going to get, you know, a nice like blend or whatever, and for some reason you bounced off Chainsaw Man, we talked about it at the start of this. I can't recommend it enough. It seemingly is going to have a great adaptation. Dan Dan's Yukinobu Tatsu, like, I would put his backgrounds and also like his, like, you know, obviously his foreground, his mecha stuff in pretty much anyone. Like, the way that he does destruction is very Fujimoto-esque. It's detailed. The scale is impressive.
His
minor little details.
Dude,
fucking
they look
like,
great.
Like, I'm sorry, not to be like a dickhead or whatever, but like, you compare what he does weekly to what other mangaka do fucking monthly, and he still blows it out of the way. Like, I pray for this man's, like, knocking on wood, literally, I pray for this man's hands and I pray for this man's heart, because, like, I don't know how you put out so consistently detailed, big set pieces all the time.
That's one thing I can say about Dandadan being the first arc in, getting into the second arc. The art style is insane, man. I don't want to say it's Mura level to disrespect either gentleman, because Mura's incredible in its own right, but the Dandadan creator's incredible. But that's the closest person I've seen to Mura level art.
Yeah, you know, I agree. I think Fujimoto is like also really good about it, but like Fujimoto like sometimes will purposely like grind out out his art a little bit to
make it dirty.
Show gore. Yeah, whereas instead, I feel like a lot of times Tatsu goes completely the opposite way and is like, I am going to draw every tiny little detail, so whenever you see this gross stuff I'm putting at you, you see every little line. I'm not going to smudge it. I'm not going to like loop it out. You're going to see the fractal patterns on this demon that's about to eat you.
I agree, brother. That's why I'm so excited that I'm in Don to Don now.
And
I
also
guess
the story's great.
go ahead.
But
yeah, no, for sure.
But the art, damn.
And the final one for me is the Kaiju number 8 creator, Nayo Matsumoto. The fact that he was like, no, I'm not going to do a teen. I'm going to do an adult and show his journey. Incredible story. And then the art, like we've seen multiple Kaiju anime and manga. The way that he does his is original. Like the way his story is original and his art is solely just for Kaiju number 8, and that's why I was so upset about the animation, because his art is so beautifully and well crafted that it deserves to look just like that. And but maybe that's a compliment to him because they can't make it look like that because it's so good. But Nayo Matsumoto, I'm excited for whatever he does after Kaiju number 8. This guy is incredible.
Oh, and yeah, so I do want to give one like kind of honorable mention.
Go ahead.
I'm like the manga's still relatively new. I personally like it a lot. But if you want something that also has like breathtaking color spreads, like that can really just like pop, especially when like you can do color with it. The level of detail and like the attention to detail whenever it comes to drawing, at least. Granted, the story also pretty good, but it is a little by the numbers. Irie Yonemoto's Wild Strawberry is some of the best detail and some of the best work. Like yeah, like they're
Jump, yeah.
Like I know a lot of people, because anyone who listens to this is an anime and manga nerd. So I know y'all got the wall scrolls, you got the posters, you got whatever. And I'm sure if everybody has tattoos, and I'm absolutely not shaming anyone for this, but if you want a first anime tattoo or a first anime like poster,
Wild Strawberry, bro.
There are worse places than getting a nice full colored Wild Strawberry tattoo.
Just look at the cover art. If you have the Shonen Jump app, look at the cover art for the series. Like I'm looking at it right now. Her green hair is so vibrant. The background behind it, every little leaf, every little vine that's drawn. Bro, this shit is incredible.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. This man must have sat down and like drew him some plants, because like it is something that you could put on your wall. No one would even know it's anime or manga, and your mom would probably be like, "Wow, that's beautiful and amazing." And you'd be like, "Yep," and it's that stuff you told me I wasn't allowed to watch when I was 11.
Yeah. So I would say in this new genre, and I think you touched on it earlier, yes, we may not have big 3 levels of length, but what we're getting in terms of art and crafted stories, I think are amazing. Yes, they may be ending sooner, but some of these stories, when they end right, are ending impactfully. Like look at Promise Neverland. The anime might not have worked, but what that person told in their manga for the short period of time was incredible.
Mm-hmm. And I also think it's going to show about how, like, in some ways the manga industry needs to and is, shifting. Because also I think that so many of these people are like young and they're realizing, I have so many stories in me. I kind of don't want to be a one-story dude. Not everyone can be Ichiro Oda, Like, I mean, say what you want about Gege, but he's been very open. Like, he's not going to quit after JJK. He wants to go in a completely different direction with an idol manga that I think has legs, Like, let the creatives do what they want to do, and whenever it's time to end their stories, even if they do go big, let them end it, because otherwise you're adding entire arcs that we don't need.
That's a fact. All right, Versen, tell the people where they can follow you on social media.
All right, you can find me at Versen and Jaz pretty much anywhere, or you can find me at Joshua Toskletter pretty much anywhere. Like I said, we got some cool stuff coming, very recent stuff, but we're going to see how it goes. You might see a little bit of a Jazz and Pharaoh collaboration. I mean, it's a big year. It's big 2024. It's only getting busier in the back half. I don't know why the front half was light, but the back half is crushingly heavy.
Hey, look, getting that paper.
Trying.
But make sure y'all follow Versen. You can follow me at LynBWT. Oh, excuse me. I have the hiccups. Until next time, peace.